Greetings, true believers, and welcome to another installment of Mego Museum's Vintage Mego. I am Brian, your host, and we're going to talk about the toys of what I believe is the world's greatest toy company, Mego. This episode was inspired by a purchase I made a couple weeks back from my pal John at a business called Crossroads Collectibles, and it's something that a lot of people, including John, would have assumed that I already owned, but for some odd reason, I didn't. I am talking about this, a Canadian Parkdale Novelty 12-inch Spider-Man in the box. This is the most easily found of all the 12-inch Mego figures. Why didn't I own one? I guess because being in Toronto, they were always around, and I just kept saying, I'll get one next time. Then they sort of dried up, and when I did see them, they'd be like crazy priced, like $600. And thanks to John being more than fair, I got one for a price that will not haunt me. So let's talk about the many twists and turns and variations of the Mego 12-inch Spider-Man action figure. The secret origin, if you will, for the Mego 12-inch superheroes is that they came from Canada. They were the brainchild of Morris Kotzer, the head of Parkdale Novelty, which was Mego's first distributor in Canada. Parkdale Novelty's relationship with Mego goes back, from what I can tell, to the 1950s, when its founder Morris Kotzer would often do trips to Japan, then the leader in toy manufacturing, with Mego's founder D. David Abrams. And there's lots of fun pictures of the two of them together. Parkdale was known for souvenirs, and they also bought into Mego's 1960s hush-up era of toys. They brought in Fighting Yank and Matty Mod. And according to his family, Morris was very enthusiastic about Action Jackson, but judging by the amount of overstock you could still get in the 80s in Canada, probably way too enthusiastic. Parkdale Novelty did extremely well with the world's greatest superheroes, Planet of the Apes, and Star Trek brands in Canada. They aired the same commercials as Mego, and if you have that tape or DVD of Mego commercials, you can thank his children for doing that. They are the ones who converted that tape. Around 1976, Morris approached Mego about making 12-inch superheroes. He believed that they would sell better than the 8-inch versions. Mego was hesitant, so he ordered enough to get the production going. He really put his money where his mouth was. The first wave was based on the best sellers from the world's greatest superheroes. Namely, it was Batman, Superman, a Robin who was scaled to be shorter than the adult heroes, which I still love, and I've done a video about that here. And on representing Marvel, all by his lonesome, Spider-Man. The head sculpts on these are wonderful, almost like actors playing the characters themselves. Even 12-inch Spider-Man, despite having a full face mask, has a nose. It's a slightly large nose, but hey, that way I can pretend it's me playing Spider-Man. One minor boo-boo about this particular figure is the copyright on the back of Spider-Man's neck, which states that he's the property of DC Comics.
Oopsie poopsie!
I hope Stan Lee never saw that.
The Incredible Hulk meets Spider-Man. Each figure a foot tall and fully posable.
All you need is a piece of string, and here comes Spider-Man.
Avalanche! This is a job for the Hulk.
The Incredible Hulk with a face that's mean, lots of muscle and skin that's green. Superhero Hulk.
Good job, handsome.
The Incredible Hulk and Spider-Man from the Superhero Collection, each sold separately by Mego.
The boxes of this first wave were meant to reflect the same colors as their 8-inch counterparts, and the artwork is surprisingly crude. I wouldn't be surprised if it was actually done by someone at Parkdale. Now, on the Marvel packaging, Parkdale included shots of Mr. Fantastic and Captain America on Spider-Man's packaging. But when I asked Morris's son Lauren about it, he didn't think they ever had any plans to create a 12-inch Mr. Fantastic. And I can't tell you how hard I looked for that figure. That was like my dream figure. While Mego was iffy on the 12-inch line in the US in 1977, their foreign sales agent did a fantastic job in Europe, where the 1/6 scale was still kind of king due to the different iterations of G.I. Joe that were very popular. So by 1977, you could buy the 12-inch heroes in Canada, France, and this is a beautiful example of an early pre-Pin French distributor box for Spider-Man, Italy, the United Kingdom, and Australia. Most of the time, the distributor would just slap a sticker over the Canadian box. It is largely believed that Mego themselves may have quietly tested these figures in the United States in small quantities. I know some people who worked retail in the late 70s saying that they definitely saw these. Canada, however, would really get saturated with these. They were everywhere when I was a kid, and they were in every wish book and catalog. I actually used to see these right up until the mid-'80s at retail. Probably another reason I just didn't ever jump on this figure. You combine that with the success of the 12-inch Wonder Woman doll, and Canada had a good 1/6 superhero presence for a long time. And yeah, I bought a few of these. Now, Mego eventually followed suit in 1978 with their own 12-inch line. However, they made significant changes to what was already out there. They gave the figures all bulkier bodies. They were super muscular. They were taller, and they changed the head sculpts on all the figures. They even added new characters such as the Incredible Hulk, which Parkdale would also sell. They also changed the packaging, and for the most part, it didn't follow the 8-inch package color scheme. It was completely in a different world. Around this time, Remco was launching their Energized Spider-Man, and they were cracking into Mego's license. I've done a piece on the Energized Spider-Man, and I'll leave a link here. So Mego countered that by adding flyaway action, which was a gimmick, and it began adding it to the figures. That's why you sometimes see the boxes with stickers, because flyaway action was really on the fly, pun intended. Spider-Man in 1978 was initially offered as being magnetic. This made perfect sense, as it was part of his power. However, in the midstream, in the second printing of the catalog, Magnetic Spider-Man was just pulled from it. And this is where it begins a little bit of a mystery. For 1978, Mego released Batman and Robin as magnetic. They created the Hulk and a slew of Superman the movie tie-ins, and these were all sold in these large window boxes. Spider-Man, however, was just sold on a card, often with this web accessory, a spider web. He's the only figure to be sold in that manner. It's curious as to why Mego went this route in abandoning the magnetic figure. Is it a price point thing? And why the card? My only guess is it was a last-minute tactic to combat Remco's Energized Spider-Man, which was their big launch for 1978. Mego was likely trying to protect their evergreen license with the superheroes, and they created a lower-cost Spider-Man figure that could be peggable, so you could sell it everywhere. You didn't need shelf space. By the way, there are actually 4 different iterations of this card back. I don't own any of them, and I would like to purchase one, but I think I am going to back off on collecting them all this time. The following year, Mego would grant the superheroes to another Canadian distributor known as Grand Toys, and they would release the 12-inch heroes in new boxes with revised artwork, obviously featuring their logo, but the Spider-Man was different. It was much more polished. The packaging still showed Captain America, which he actually got a figure in 1979, but they also redrew Mr. Fantastic. I don't know why they wouldn't have just added the Hulk, but for some reason, they were still offering a figure that did not exist. Also that same year, Mego would offer a more deluxe version of the 12-inch Spider-Man in the form of Web Spinning Spider-Man.
Web spinning
Web-spinning Spider-Man.
This is Web Spinning Spider-Man with Flyaway Action Pack. Assembly required. Load the web spinning fluid and squeeze.
Web-spinning Spider-Man. Small webs, big webs. Spider-Man webs are catchy webs. Webs around fingers, webs around legs. Webs, webs, web-spinning Spider-Man.
Web Spinning Spider-Man with Flyaway Action Pack and Web Spinning Fluid by Mego.
Good luck getting that theme song out of your head. Web shooting Spider-Man was a pretty high concept item. You place the sticky solution into Spider-Man's arm, which is made of sort of a PVC, and it simulates his web spinning action. I'm not sure what you did when you ran out of the web fluid. It's not like Mego sold replacement web fluid. I assume most kids probably just used water. Web spinning Spider-Man may have one of the most glorious packages Mego ever did. I mean, you've got Kingpin and Kraven the Hunter and the Green Goblin on the back. It's just beautiful. To my knowledge, however, I don't think this ever saw any sort of international release. It was a U.S. item. In Mexico, there was a company called Ensueño that did also produce 12-inch Spider-Man, Superman, and Batman. They're very wonderful and hard to find. These figures actually flew through some sort of gizmo in their foot. I really can't begin to understand exactly how it works. But they were under license from Mego and should be considered official 12-inch Mego action figures. The Mego 12-inch Superheroes line would end in 1981 when it would not return to the Mego catalogs. It was closed out and clearanced. As I mentioned, the 12-inch Spider-Man, the Parkdale one, was part of a significant find in Toronto in the mid-1980s and did end up in the Diamond catalog along with Batman for a good chunk of the 1990s. That's why you can find them all over the world. Comic stores could order this vintage product. Just a quick mention that issue 7 of Toy Ventures magazine is now available for order. If you missed old school print magazines like Lee's and Toy Fair, then Toy Ventures might be for you. We have 7 issues covering such diverse topics as Marine Boy, Mego, knockoffs, Godzilla, you name it. Details for our store are below. Thank you for considering it. So there you have it, folks. That is my look at the Mego 12-inch Spider-Man, a very iconic and underrated figure by Mego Corporation. Did you have one as a kid? What 12-inch figures did you have? You can let me know in the comments below, or you can hit me up in our Facebook group, Mego Mania, where we just talk about Mego all the time, or at the forums at megomuseum.com. Yes, we still have forums. Yes, they are growing. Come check us out. It's a really nice experience. Thank you as always for watching. If you're new to this, I hope you will consider hitting like and subscribe. We do this every week. Until next time, folks, be well and talk toys, not other people. It's more fun. Cheers.